Okay, I better go faster, we'll never get out of here. The second principle of a nutritarian diet, actually I'm only on like the third or fourth slide. The second principle of a nutritarian diet is your diet has to be hormonally favorable. And the hormones we're talking about, are estrogen, insulin, IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. Well, let's talk about insulin first, because you guys must know that excess insulin shortens your lifespan. And when you're overweight, your body has to produce excess insulin. If you're 10 pounds, so here am I at a favorable weight, and my body may produce, let's say, 10 units of insulin a day for my body's requirements, 10 units a day. If instead of weighing 150 pounds, wow, if I weigh 160 pounds, my body might need 15 units a day. At 170 pounds, I might need 20 units a day. If I weigh 180 pounds, I may need 50 units a day. If I weigh 210 pounds, I may need 100 units of insulin a day. That's 10 times the amount of insulin I needed if I was a normal weight. You following that? As you gain weight, you become more insulin resistant, and your body has to produce much more insulin in response to everything that you eat. And the fat cells secrete estrogen and other negative factors as well, but if we eat a high glycemic diet with a lot of insulin-producing potential, we shorten our lifespan. And foods that are high glycemic means that they have a lot of glucose. The carbohydrate is converted into glucose, and the glucose enters the body very rapidly. So foods that have a high glycemic load means their glucose calories enter the bloodstream rapidly. Like if I ate white rice or white bread or sugar or honey or maple syrup, that's all high glycemic carbohydrates which spike in insulin load. If I have 200 calories of beans, the carbohydrate in beans is broken down very slowly, and they enter the bloodstream at about 1 or 2 calories a minute. You don't have to produce very much insulin to get rid of 1 calorie of glucose a minute. Did you follow that? There's hardly any insulin needed to handle bean because it's broken down so slowly, because beans are rich in slowly digestible carbohydrates, and they have the most resistant starch of any other food. Because they're high in resistant starch, it means those starches are almost like a fiber in that they're resistant to enzymatic degradation by the digestive enzymes. So instead of being broken down by digestive enzymes, they're broken down by bacteria in the gut. And as the bacteria in the gut essentially ferments them, they become a fuel for the growth of healthy bacteria. The bacteria in the gut that break down the resistant starch in beans and turns that into fat, short-chain fatty acids. The bean carbohydrate, the starch in beans, is converted into fat by the bacteria, but the conversion takes place too far down in the digestive tract, so 90% of those calories are lost into the toilet bowl. So the resistant starch in beans mostly pass through you as a non-caloric source. They ratcheted down the apostat by those 50 calories, but only 5 calories came in. Did you follow that? They had you no longer prefer to eat, but all those calories didn't come in. So you had a meal, you ate your vegetables and your beans, and the raw vegetables are not biologically accessible either, and the nuts are not all biologically accessible either, but you felt like you had that many calories, and you felt like you had enough food, and you're not hungry all afternoon, but you get to be dinner time, and you start to get hungry, and all those calories didn't even come into your body. You moderately caloric restricted just because of eating the right food, because it shut your apostat down and all those calories never even came in. Whereas low glycemic carbohydrates do the opposite. I said that backwards. The high glycemic carbohydrates go into your bloodstream rapidly. The low glycemic carbohydrates are like beans. They come into the bloodstream very slowly. Got that? And the high glycemic carbohydrates do the opposite. They rev up the appetite. Because when calories enter the bloodstream rapidly, don't forget, the rapid infusion of calories into the bloodstream triggers dopamine release in the brain, dopamine stimulation in the brain that make you, like opiates do, like shooting up with heroin or snorting cocaine does. When you eat calories that flood the body fast, like oil, like white flour or white rice or honey or maple syrup, you're going to get a mild high from those foods, that make you want to get more of them. You know what I say? You can't eat just one. You can't just sit down there and have 1 tablespoon of ice cream with all that sugar. You got to eat the whole pint. You got to eat the whole bag of French fries. You got to eat 1 soda is no longer enough from you. You still became so dopamine insensitive from all the high calories you consume. You got to have a bigger soda now with the burger and the fries. And you're still hungry. Maybe get another serving of fries then. It's bad enough they're having all this cancer-causing food, but now they figured out a way to even make it more cancer-causing. We're going to take the food now that's already cancer-causing. I'm going to take this potato, high glycemic potato, I'm going to fry it, not just in oil, but oil that's going to be reheated all day long. So we call them rancidity and carcinogenic compounds. We're going to fry the potato in carcinogenic oil. Wow. Even working in the fast food restaurant, if you don't even eat the food, just inhaling the fumes from the oil from the vat is carcinogenic. We're the only country in the world that allows class 1 carcinogens. Now, a class 1 carcinogen means a definitive carcinogen, like is processed. I'm talking about processed meats now, like hamburgers and like bacon and hot dogs and bologna. We're the only country that permits these class 1 carcinogens, which is definitive carcinogen, like asbestos, and dioxin, to be served in school lunches to kids. Can you imagine we do this? They don't allow that in the Arab countries. They don't allow that in Europe. They don't allow that in, only here can we do that. Can we give kids class 1 carcinogens and bring them to the soccer games and feed our kids donuts to make them get cancer faster? My children, who are pretty much grown up, could never figure out. They'd always say to me, don't these parents love their children? Why are they doing this? And I go, I remember when my daughter Cara was 4. We were at this health quest. We were at a place in my house where we exercise, right? And she comes out of this kids' boot camp that she called the boo-boo camp. And she says to me, don't these parents love their children? And I said, of course they love their children. What are you talking about? She said, they're eating cheese doodles and candy. And the parents are bringing it in for the kids. And I said, they don't know what we know, that what you eat makes who you are and makes your health. They don't know that. She said, they don't know that what you eat makes your body? How could they be so stupid? And I said, it's not that they're so stupid, it's that everybody's doing it, so it's called cognitive dissonance. They don't think about it. And when you're a food addict, whoa. Must have been attacked by the fast food manufacturers just then. I don't know what happened there. When you're a food addict, like most Americans are, they're eating these fast foods and their donuts and their croissants and whatever it is, their bagels and their cream cheese on it, and they're going away and have their drunken donuts. But they're not thinking they're causing cancer. They've blocked it out. They don't even think about it. They're just doing it because they're fueling their addictive behavior. There's no thought processes because addictions dummy down your intelligence and make you not think. Automatically, the addictions take over part of your brain and they take it away from you. You're no longer in control of the bank. You lost your keys to the bank because now your addictions drive your behavior and drive your thought processes. The person who's an addict, the brain makes delusional rationalizations why it's okay to poison themselves. Oh, I'm in too much stress right now to quit smoking. My son smashed up the car, There's always some excuse why it's never the right time to get off the cocaine, the cigarettes, or the donuts, right? I don't have to eat healthy now. I'll wait till I get pregnant. In other words, when you're an addict, the addictive potential of these foods drive your behavior and even drives your thinking, and you just live you start your life becomes a life to chase and to supply your needs of your addictive part of the brain, the primitive brain. You're driven to drink and to eat and to fuel the brain with addictive substances. And you know what? You're no longer creative, kind, intelligent, and you no longer, and to that degree that you're driven to serve your addictions, is to that level that you can no longer be the best producer, the best parent, the best to your neighbors, your country, your world. You're no longer, other things don't matter to you anymore. You become more self-centered, more narcissistic, and less intelligent. And then you get elected president. I'm sorry. It just came out. I couldn't help myself. Sometimes it's trying not to do that, but So glycemic load, insulin and disease, well, we know that when you have higher sugar-containing foods, it drives overeating behavior, and it drives all these common diseases. And what I'm telling you, there's a unifying biological mechanism via which all these diseases develop. And this unifying mechanism means that when you eat calories without nutrients, you build up free radicals, reactive oxygen species, and you build up AGEs, advanced glycation end products. Those are not the only toxins, but that combination of reactive oxygen species, free radicals with advanced glycation end products, build up in your tissues and age you rapidly and cause macular degeneration, aging of the brain, dementia, nerve damage in your legs, kidneys to go, hypertension, atherosclerosis, and cancer. Say that 3 times fast. So glycemic load foods, high glycemic load foods like white potato, white rice, white pasta, and chocolate cake, which is white. It has a fake tan, right? It's just fake, I always say, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead, right? Of course. Don't trust things that are too white. Cocaine, cigarettes, white flour, all these things. We want to eat a lot of colorful and nutrient-rich plants. Now, medium glycemic load foods like corn and sweet potato and grains are okay, but the lowest glycemic load foods are the vegetables, like the green vegetables and the squashes, and the fruits like oranges and berries, and beans and nuts. Those are the lowest glycemic plant foods.